Okay, don't mind me here at home, folks, kind of analyzing as we go along here. Okay, so right here, this is the possibility where we have a tornado on the ground that is launching debris, very likely tree limbs. Let me zoom in specifically to where this area is. And Nash, you know, I'm looking at the topography map. This looks like farms, looks like very rural. But if you are in the projected path of this storm, we need to assume that there is a tornado that is on the ground, potentially, with this complex. The winds have been particularly nasty that are right now popping up on WinkLive Doppler 3X. And this is, okay, we're going to analyze some of the wind speeds here. They are right now being indicated at least 76 miles an hour. And Nash, you have that being picked up right now on the screen.
Yeah, I got a good look at it here. You can see that area of rotation just to the south and east of Paradise Park. I want to make it clear, this is not going into Paradise Park, but this is continuing on a trend to the south and east. And a closer look at this warning. Now, Paradise Park, you're within it, but it looks like it's just east of you now, headed south, or is currently south of Vermont Road. And if this holds together over the next 15 minutes or so, I've put a quick track on this here. Payson Ranch would be next in line. That time of arrival at about 6:48 a.m., excuse me, Matt. And as we look here, you can see that darkening in the color there with that debris signature. And Nikki, could we put this on a loop over the past several minutes here, if you wouldn't mind controlling this? Matt, I was looking at this very carefully because that area of rotation passed right over where this debris signature was briefly picked up by WinkLive Doppler 3X. And there it is right here. It's that particular signature. If we could go back one frame here, Matt, this was likely the first indication to us that this tornado has touched down south of Paradise Park. The National Weather Service quickly issued a tornado warning shortly after. And again, if this does continue that path, if we want to put up the latest update here on the tornado tracker, you can see that it is currently located southeast of Paradise Park still. And actually, it looks like it's going to be passing Vermont Road. It kind of has a northward component to it within the latest update. So nobody should be traveling on Vermont Road. And this is just east of Paradise Park still, Matt, traveling to the northeast right now.
Okay, we have, I'm going to say there's enough evidence here. We have a tornado on the ground. Okay, Nash, do me a favor. Tell the National Weather Service in Tampa. Okay, tell the National Weather Service in Tampa. Also tell them in Miami, their radars are so far away they can't see it like ours can. So that's enough evidence to me that we have a tornado that is very likely on the ground that is launching debris, and it looks fairly small, okay? But it looks like the debris is right now, also for the producers listening to me in the back, as well as everybody at home, this is going to be Vermont Road. Let me turn off specifically. Okay, and this looks like, again, some farms, some very rural area, but it looks like we have an establishment right there in eastern Charlotte County. Let me turn this back on. And if you're just tuning in, just joining us, very likely tornado is on the ground, hurling debris into the sky. The red that you see, that's rain. But the reason why, and we just got the newest scan in, I'm still seeing it, the reason why this is very suspect is because we have different colors. We have yellow, we have green. That's our WinkLive Doppler 3X picking up on different particles in the sky. That's not rain. So that's how we know that we have very likely a tornado that is on the ground in eastern Charlotte County and now crossing over into northwestern Glades County. So Nash, what's the motion on this one according?
It was moving due northeast. Now it looks like it's got a little more of a northward component, Matt, which is something you normally see within these lines of storms. They start to lift a bit farther north rather than traveling due east.
What's the motion? Is it 35 or 30?
Oh, 35, I believe.
35. Okay, so the reason why I was asking Nash, now let's do a storm cone and where this is going to be heading. It's going to be in the northwestern corner of Glades County shortly, so it's about to cross the county line. Last Chance Ranch Resort, this is literally your last chance to seek shelter. Please do so. Tornado very likely on the ground and hurling debris. Here's how it looks on WinkLive Doppler 3X. Let me get rid of the lightning, kind of clutters things. And Nash, look at that. It looks like there is a definitive curl right there. Okay, so there's your curl, and that is where we do have some rotation that is being analyzed, and a very likely tornado on the ground. Strong evidence here on WinkLive Doppler 3X. 78 miles an hour with wind going in one direction. We have also wind heading in the opposite direction of 47 miles an hour. And where you have this rotation, tornado on the ground, which is right now hurling debris across eastern Charlotte County, according to WinkLive Doppler 3X. So, Marissa, why don't we send a reporter to Bermont Road, Eastern? Okay, she's already on it. Thank you very much. So that's why we have a tornado warning that is right now in effect all the way into Glades County. Nash, you have more updates that are coming in. I'm still seeing the signature that is being picked up on WinkLive Doppler 3X. Now, let's talk about who is not going to be impacted by this very likely tornado on the ground. And it has cleared Babcock Ranch. Babcock, it's about 15 miles to your northeast. You don't have to worry. Paradise Park, it has cleared your general vicinity. It's about 7 miles away and moving away. Now, regardless, heavy rain and lightning, but tornado warning at a minimum remains in effect until 7 o'clock, Nash, for Glades County.
Yeah, and Matt, I want to show you one quick thing here. You know, we've been talking about that tornado debris signature. As of the latest scans we're seeing on WinkLive Doppler 3X, not looking quite as strong, which fingers crossed means that this is likely lifted or is at least weakening at this point. We're going to continue to time this out and track it, but I want to give a special warning out ahead to State Road 731. You should not be traveling on this road, as this will likely travel on top of or near that particular roadway within the next 15 to 20 minutes or so, perhaps even sooner if this storm picks up speed in its motion. Additionally, to the east of this roadway, we have US 27. The time of arrival would be about 30 minutes to 45 minutes or so if it holds together all the way out to that point. For now, that tornado warning is in effect with this large polygon extending very far east of Paradise Park. But one thing we have been watching is this tornado debris signature start to lift just a bit. If it continues doing that, Matt, it might just escape the polygons. We're going to have to watch that very carefully. Closer look, though. Here's the latest update. We still have a little bit of a definitive signature here still popping up. These colors indicating that there's something different than just rain or hail within these clouds. It's showing that this could potentially be tree branches or small bits of debris being lofted by this particular tornado. Again, east of Paradise Park at this point and likely traveling to the northeast here soon. Matt?
Yeah, I completely agree. And Nash, I'm also analyzing the history of this rotation. Now, interesting to note, when it was over the water and let's say, sections of South Punta Gorda, just south of the airport, not much rotation, but look at how it has brightened up. That's a sign of stronger rotation. And we have seen recently, very likely, a tornado that was on the ground. You just saw that live on Wink. And it is away from Babcock Ranch. It is away from Paradise Park. Very rural sections. Let me actually show you some street levels and some specifics. Here's going to be 731. Got Bermont Road. This area right here, you can't miss it. That's the trouble area. Let's look at some of the topography. Who's in this area? And largely rural. Again, that is the one blessing here so far. Couple farms, couple communities, certainly possible within its projected path, but we are not seeing this over an incredibly densely populated area. Okay, so let me throw on the newest scan of our tornado tracker, and potentially a few areas, this could have been a case where it touched down, launched some tree limbs into the sky, and then it's still kind of meandering up in the sky, several hundred or 1,000 feet up, but it would be right about here, okay? And it's going to be working its way towards 731. Let's do a brand new storm cone on this area. Being picked up on WinkLive Doppler 3X, doing a great job this morning. And this is going to be heading at 35 miles an hour. They just extended the tornado warning in generally the same area as the cone, so let's now do that. Okay, this should be a little bit easier to see at home. And I want to take this opportunity, if you have damaged pictures, if you have anything of observations of what's happening, please let us know. We'll put it on TV. You can send it to my Facebook, Twitter, email, you name it. Let's do a storm cone on where this is going to be heading, because it very likely is going to be now working its way towards the southern periphery of Highlands County. Venus, not Venice, but Venus, 7 to 7:05. You want to hunker down. Tornado watch remains in effect for all of southwest Florida, meaning tornadoes are possible at any minute until about 2 o'clock. So 2 o'clock is when we officially can enjoy the rest of our weekend and not have to worry about any severe weather. But for those that are within the tornado warning, what you want to do, here's the best advice I have, tornado safety tips. Lowest floor, center of your home, away from windows. Protect your head, your heart, most obviously important parts of the body. Let's protect them at all costs. Got some baseball players out there. Protect your head with a helmet as this now potential tornado is working its way through. Let's go back over to the velocity scan, and this is the Christmas colors that you see. This is wind heading in one direction, wind heading in another, and where you see this contrast here, that is where our Wink Live Doppler 3X very likely picked up on debris that was being launched in the sky, indicative of a tornado on the ground, and then now it's pushing. Nash, the motion 30 to 35 miles an hour?
Let me double check for you here.
Okay, and for those at home, it's this area right here.
Now 45 miles per hour.
Okay, so it's sped up. At a minimum, it also has the potential, let's analyze some of the wind speeds here, to bring strong, damaging winds upwards of about, there's a 50 to 56 miles an hour as it's heading across northern areas of Glades County. Nikki, would you be able to post earlier we have meteorologist Nikki Sheeks with us, also the tornado debris signature? We'll post that. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. The southern part of the line, let's take a look now at Lee County. Not as powerful as what we're seeing for our friends in Glades County, but here is another broad point of who is seeing the heaviest rainfall and the worst part of it, which is working its way across Babcock Ranch, North Fort Myers, downtown Fort Myers is pretty much right on top of the Caloosahatchee with some strong gusty wind, and all the way towards Iona, Fort Myers Beach, and I hear it outside, and now Wink has the rainfall picking up. So here's the general, I'm going to throw on all multiple radars here. Here is going to be the remaining timing for these showers and storms as they push on by. Okay. And heads up from my viewers in Charlotte County, we do have one more line that is coming in from the Gulf. Now, keep in mind that this line right here just sucked out a lot of energy, so that's going to take away some of the power from this line, but we still are going to be on alert for the possibility of severe weather. As we do a storm cone here and a storm track on these for when you can expect it as it's pushing on shore for areas of Collier County. Timing is going to be Estero, top of the hour. Bonita Springs, about 7:05. Naples, I'd say 7:15 to 7:30, with the potential of heavy rain, lightning, some gusty wind, and we will be on alert for an isolated tornado because we have a tornado watch that is right now in effect. And for the very latest analysis, also on the showers and storms blowing by, let's bring in Nash. Boy, you've been on top of everything today.
Yeah, we got more rounds of rain on the way, unfortunately, Matt, and some of them could pack a little bit of rotation, as you mentioned, which is why the National Weather Service is continuing with that tornado watch through this afternoon. It's a weird time threat for today, where most of the storms are going to be focused towards the morning time rather than the afternoon and evening for southwest Florida, although all of this will eventually push off to the east coast. I want to give a heads up to our friends in Fort Myers, Bonita Springs, Iona, and Estero. Some showers are moving into your direction, but I want to make clear these are not severe warned at this point in time. Plenty of cloud to ground lightning with them, and it might sound scary outside, but for now, no severe weather. It looks like south of Charlotte County. So areas farther south, including Naples and Golden Gate, most of those storms are still remaining off the shoreline at the moment. I want to get you out to the only tornado warnings that we currently have. Matt, you have been talking about this for the better part of the past 15 to 20 minutes or so. east of Paradise Park moments ago, mainly southeast of Paradise Park, we likely had a very brief tornado that has formed. It is not confirmed at this point in time, but we'll call it radar confirmed when we have a good idea that something may have briefly touched down there. This continued to the north and east, and now a closer look at where that area of rotation is right now. It's still holding together northeast of Paradise Park, currently crossing State Road 731 and US 27. You would be next in the line of path if this does continue that track to the east-northeast. At the moment, gusty winds are also something to consider with this system. So even if you don't see that tornado threat, still expect strong winds within this tornado warning as wind gusts exceeding 60 miles per hour are possible. I want to show you the latest update here from our radar site. As you can still see, actually, Matt, it looks like a not quite as a pronounced area of rotation here. We look for the greens and the reds moving towards and away from the radar. And when they get very close to each other, it indicates that there's a little bit of turning and rotation within these storms, which is something that we see from time to time, but it's when that rotation ramps up that we could be tracking a tornado. Right now, east of Paradise Park, things are not looking nearly as, you could say, I don't want to say bad, but nearly as dire as they were a moment ago, where parts were seeing at least what looked like a brief confirmed tornado on the ground. And now what's left of that storm will continue that path towards US 27. And I want to put a brief track on this. Last Chance Ranch Airport. You need to be getting into your safe place right now. That storm is about a minute away from you, if not on top of you. Venus, 7 a.m., that time of arrival for you. J.H. Hendry Farms Airport. If you're near that airport, you need to be in your safe place. And additionally, Hickoria at 7:05 a.m. And that's if this continues that track to the northeast. But Matt, as we've already seen, this area of rotation has been shifting directions on us a few times. So we'll continue to be timing it out for people at home.
Yeah, well said. And you can see this clear as day. There's two things that we can analyze from this. First off, I am not seeing at the moment anything too terribly bad in Lee County in terms of rotation. I do have one little area that will be watched right here. And I tell you what, for some peace of mind, let's zoom in on that little pocket. And where we do have a little bit of a contrast, it's right now near Bell Tower, Villas, FSW, not too far off. There's a Hammond Stadium right down there. It's going to be working its way towards 6 Mile. Nothing tight, nothing too terribly bad, but I'm going to watch it for you just in case for some peace of mind here into our Sunday morning. Now, if you were to have a stronger signature or even a tornado, this is what it would actually look like. Something like this. See how it's a lot more pronounced? You have brighter green right next to brighter red. That is where earlier our Wink Live Doppler 3X picked up on a debris ball, indicating that for a couple minutes we very likely had a tornado that was on the ground hurling tree limbs and hopefully not debris as it worked its way through. So right now this area of rotation, and this is the Glades and Highlands County line, 731. It's going to be passing over within the next few minutes as and looks like we just got a brand new scan. Still has the rotation dash. Let's do a time lapse on this, as well as who's going to see this down the road as it pushes to the northeast. You said the motion was 45 miles an hour?
Yes.
Okay, so let's change that to 45. We have lightning at Wink, I can attest to that, working its way towards Venus at 7 a.m., and then more of southern Highlands County beyond that point. I really think the main issue in Lee County is going to be strong wind gusts. Now, if you have reports, don't do it during the storm. Let's hunker down for now. Wait until the storm passes. If you have any type of tree limbs that have been broken off, trees that are down, any type of structural damage, let us know. Send in a picture. You guys would do an incredible job for us in kind of filling in the holes that sometimes Mother Nature can leave behind when it produces these strong to severe storms, which are right now, let's kind of show you the main bullseye. We'll pretty much go right up the line. Heaviest, Fort Myers Beach, Cypress Lake, Villas, Page Field, the Forum. A brief band of some gusty wind, 40, 50 miles an hour. Looks like it's starting to wrap up around North Fort Myers, the heaviest rain, the strongest wind, the lightning. Babcock Ranch, very likely seeing some heavy rain at the moment, some lightning. Do we have the ability right now? It's probably just wrapping up. In the back, can you punch up the Skycam radar Wink Live Doppler 3X to see the current situation, and should be able to give you a vantage point up. It's through the heavy rain. It's through the heavy rain, but it's taken those showers and storms like a champ, as you can imagine, and as the showers and storms are blowing by. So that's just one vantage point. Still watching the tornado warning up the line as we switch back over to Wink Live Doppler 3X radar. Heavy rain, lightning. The rotation, as of what I'm seeing, is not as pronounced. Yeah, it's a little broader. Okay, so see how there's this gap between the green and the red? That's a sign that the rotation is just not as tight as it once was. And I also am not seeing on our tornado tracker something as pronounced where debris is getting thrown into the sky. Tornado watch remains in effect for all areas in southwest Florida, basically from now to 2 o'clock. Please be weather aware. Keep it here to Wink. We're not going anywhere. We're going to be with you every step of the way if Mother Nature decides to throw us another tornado warning and a brief tornado touchdown. Nash, do we have more updates coming in from the National Weather Service chat? I see that they are just going to continue that tornado warning until, let's see, 7 a.m. at the latest.
I believe so, yes.
Yeah.
And no new updates, Matt. Continuing to watch that same storm, but worth noting the only severe warned storm within this entire line of thunderstorms. I know lots of people in Fort Myers and here at the station we're even hearing the thunder and lightning, but it's important to note that that is not a severe storm that we're putting up with right now.
Yeah, and by definition, severe is basically the winds over 58 miles an hour. Now, if the winds are 55, it's still packing a punch, and 50 as well. And that is enough to potentially cause some power outages and things of that nature. Two little baby areas of rotation. You can see one right here and the other one into Lee County. Nothing right now overwhelming to me or concerning me, but we're going to watch it regardless for you, as it's primarily right now near Jamaica Bay, Crown Colony. You get a break break for a bit around Hammond Stadium, and then as we zoom back out, another area. This one's pretty much right on top of 6 Mile Slough. And then between Daniels and Colonial, exit 131, exit 136. Let's just time that out for you as we watch the progress of it, as it's going to quickly work its way through. And hypothetically, that area of weaker rotation, Treeline Elementary, Hampton Park, Buckingham Park, about 7 to 7:15. Again, we're watching it for you. Nothing I'm too terribly concerned about, but it does have a little area of rotation. Nash?
Jimmy is live in downtown Fort Myers, ready to give us an update outside.
Okay, feel free. Yeah, can you give an update on what you are experiencing at the minute?
Well, just a few minutes ago, it was really picking up. You could notice this palm tree swaying. They're still swaying here. You can see our dash cam pointing at a street here in downtown Fort Myers, but it's nowhere near as much as it was just a few minutes ago. We were seeing a lot more rain. The rain is dying down again. Thunder, we are hearing a lot of. You can hear the car kind of shakes every time the thunder starts to rumble, and the lightning strikes have been a little scary out here. But like the Wink Authority, Weather Authority is saying, there is no not severe storms out here, just scary ones at the moment. You can see some of those palm trees swaying a little bit, but again, a lot better than it was just a few minutes ago. Back to you.
And thanks so much for the update. And like she said, I get it. These storms can sometimes, with the noise they make, the wind gusts, they can be scary. But that's where I come in. What I'm going to do is I'll fill in the holes of maybe that are what's causing you to be a little nervous. Hopefully calm me down a little bit. We'll get through it. It's only a couple hours of some bad weather, and even by this afternoon and this evening, you can enjoy the rest of your weekend. So it's only for a couple hours. I'm going to be with you every step of the way. We'll get you right through it as we are still watching this right near the border of Glades County and Glades County, Highlands County, an area of rotation being indicated in the bright green right next to the bright red crossing over US 27. Nash just told me that the tornado warning has been extended, and there it is. And let's see how many people hypothetically are going to be within this warning. And looks like it's largely rural, but it will be in effect until about 7:15. So what we do here, whenever we have a tornado warning, we must be on the air because everybody's tuning in on TV at different times. Just because you may have tuned in at 6 o'clock, someone tunes in at 6:30 or even 7:01 like right now. And we want to continue to keep you in the loop on what's happening and if we have a tornado on the ground, which right now it is just possible. It hasn't been confirmed like it was earlier with some of that debris being launched into the air. But our Wink Live Doppler 3X is not showing the rotation as strong. Let's pick up another radar that shows where that trouble area is, and it's a little bit more pronounced, but still fairly broad as it works its way across Glades County in southern Highlands County as it pushes northeast. Nash, in the meantime, why don't you rack the rest of your show, the second half, to kind of guide people through the rest of today and all the way throughout the next few days. So Nash is going to get that going here momentarily. In the meantime, there's that area right there into Lee County, a few little weak areas of rotation, nothing that's too terribly bad. Let's throw on the radar feature to show you who is seeing the strongest and heaviest conditions, and that would be primarily for Gateway. For Daniels, notice the pockets of dark red, pink, and purple. Heavy rain, lightning, some gusty wind down Tamiami Trail and all the way towards Fort Myers Beach, Lover's Key. I'm sure you're not loving how your Sunday morning's going. And then as we time this out, as it's pushing to the east at about 35 to 45 miles an hour, I want to show you who down the road can expect this line. Okay? Because it is a fast mover, and that's the big thing with today. Yes, we have the potential for severe weather, but it's quick, it's brief, and then it'll be out of here as we hit the second half of the day. Bonita Springs, 7:11, Naples, 7:25, Immokalee, about 7:38, Marco Island, give or take, about 7:45, with, at a minimum, heavy rain, lightning, some gusty wind, and embedded within these showers and storms, Nash, rotation and a quick spin up will be possible.
Yep, we mentioned that damaging straight line wind threat. Several of these storms will likely at least be capable of producing wind gusts briefly over 40 miles per hour. I know last night we had some strong storms, Matt, that you had mentioned out towards Babcock Ranch. It looked like they had done a little bit of damage, and it's the same type of scenario that we're expecting today. A closer look at what we are seeing right now, zoomed in. Now, it looks like new severe thunderstorm warning. Matt, thank you so much for pulling this up for me here. This one now continuing until 7:30 a.m. Roughly 250,000 people affected by this. So Gateway, Southwest Florida International Airport, Lehigh Acres, Alva, Estero, Lover's Key. Matt, you just mentioned they're getting the brunt of that storm moving on shore there. That'll be affecting you until 7:30 a.m. along with Bonita Springs. And we're expecting these storms to hold their intensity for a while. So unfortunately, I don't see this one weakening in the immediate future. The primary factor here is going to be the damaging straight line wind threat. And we're getting winds actually picked up here from Winks Live Doppler 3X. Now, these are winds aloft. It's important to remember. So these are a few hundred feet off the ground, but still nonetheless, 51 mile per hour wind gust and 47 mile per hour outbound wind gust just off the surface. And it gets a little bit weaker as we get closer to the radar site and we're getting closer to the surface. But you get the idea. Because of these strong winds, the National Weather Service is confident that this storm will be capable of that damaging straight line wind gust threat for at least another half hour or so. And I want to let everybody know in Lee and Charlotte County that I-75 is not a place you're going to want to be over the next hour, especially down into the southern extent of Lee County near Estero. The same goes for 41 if it's not raining there already. And maybe you're just east of Lover's Key or approaching the Bonita Springs area. And that could be problematic here soon as we're expecting torrential downpours. And again, those damaging winds, Matt, continue to be a threat within this cell.
Yeah, hey, Nash, just got some reports in from that severe thunderstorm warning, and I have a feeling this is why they just issued it. We are getting reports in of about 50 to 60 miles an hour wind. Here's the report that just came in. This was at about 6:51, 14 minutes ago. 56 mile per hour wind gust at Page Field. Then in South Cape, we had another wind observation. Let's clear this. 52. And this was at Tarpon Point, for reference. This was at 6:40. So that is why there is a severe thunderstorm warning that is right now in place. It is because of not so much the rotation at the minute, but it's very likely because of the strong damaging winds as they blow on by. So here is the severe thunderstorm warning and the situation at hand. You'll notice that it is primarily for eastern Lee County. The number of lightning strikes within the dozens, if not hundreds. Let's take a look here, how many that we have, about 103. The general motion here is to the east at about 35 and 40 miles an hour. Let's do a storm track, storm cone, show you where it's coming from, where it's heading, as this is going to be pushing for the interior, mainly towards Estero, East Lee County High School, Eden Park Elementary, and then Immokalee at about 740 to 745. This has a history of winds 50 to even 60 miles an hour. So heads up, that's the biggest issue. I would like to switch over to velocity. Let's see the situation if we have any rotation. And I am not seeing anything, thankfully, that is largely rotating in Lee County. Hopefully that brings some peace of mind. If that changes, we'll let you know. But it's mainly the strong damaging winds briefly for a couple seconds, couple minutes as it works its way through. Nikki, could you do me a favor and check power outages? You can check the power outages across Lee County, Charlotte County, see what that is doing. And something to also remember, folks, is that, we still have a lot of roof damage from Ian. We got people's tarps going left and right here. Not what we need to see and not ideal, as this severe thunderstorm warning officially, let's show you how long it's going to be in effect until. It includes just shy of 250,000 people until about 7:30. Time now is 7:07 as it pushes inland and to the east. Nash?
Yeah, I want to kind of recap the scenario for anybody just tuning in. Right now, we do have a damaging severe line of thunderstorms that are tracking through southwest Florida. Not everybody within a warning right now, but we do have 2 active tornado warnings for the same exact storm. This storm actually produced a tornado just southeast of Paradise Park, or at least on radar, appeared to briefly produce one. At the moment, the rotation within this particular cell in the southern extent of Highlands County and northern extent of Glades County appears to be weakening, which is a good trend. We're, of course, going to continue to monitor it, especially with that history. The other cell that we are watching, of course, Matt, is the one with the severe thunderstorm warning that you just timed out for our friends there. Farther to the south, more strong storms are on the way for coastal Collier County. And I want to go over those times of arrival very quickly. Bonita Springs, 7:10 a.m., so we're practically there. Pelican Bay, 7:19, Naples, 7:29, and Immokalee, 7:45. That rough estimate of a time of arrival. These are all going to move from the northwest to the south and east, and it looks like the storms behind this initial line are a little bit weaker than the initial threat from those storms. But I want to go hour by hour here with Future Track and at least show you that as these continue that track to the south and east, look on the backside. We actually have partly cloudy skies clearing out to mostly clear skies by the later stages of this afternoon and into the evening. A beautiful forecast. We just have to get through these strong thunderstorms, and it's going to take a bit until we get there. We are expecting a few more storms to potentially be on the strong side for the next few hours, so please have ways to receive warnings. And if you are out ahead of this line of storms, and maybe you're considering heading out to church here shortly, please, if you haven't experienced these storms just yet, pay close attention to the radar. And if we say they're coming your direction, maybe delay your trip by just a few minutes or an hour until they rumble through. I promise you won't regret that decision, as some of these storms, as Matt just pointed out, have produced wind gusts over 50 miles per hour, and we have already at least had what appears to be a brief tornado southeast of Paradise Park earlier this morning. Today's high temperatures will only get into the mid-80s, and moving forward with your 7-day forecast as we go day by day with it here, you can see high temperatures continue to climb into the 90s by Thursday, and no more severe weather chances in the immediate forecast. I know day by day we've been tracking chances for severe weather, but Matt, it looks like at least this is the home stretch for the immediate forecast of the 10-day.
Yeah, well said. And even by this afternoon and this evening, we're largely done. We'll get to enjoy some sunshine, humidity, and more typical Southwest Florida weather. But you'll notice how we have 2 warnings that are right now in effect. The tornado warning is embedded within here, southern Highlands County. We have a severe thunderstorm warning into Lee County. And then next up is going to be Collier County for the possibility of strong to severe storms. We are getting reports of power outages in the thousands across Southwest Florida, specifics about 3,000 to 4,000. If we could, if we have it up, let's try to get the power outages map with the update. In the meantime, we'll track those storms as they push east at about 35 and 40 miles an hour. The number of lightning strikes within this boxed area, it has been fairly numerous. Right now, the total at about 293, as essentially this morning is going to be broken down into 2 ways. The first is the primary line, and that's what you see at home that has been responsible for strong to severe storms right here from Highlands County and then all the way into the Gulf. Now, this has been sucking out a lot of energy, and you notice that the one behind it is not as pronounced, but that doesn't mean we don't have a chance for severe weather. We are still going to be watching that secondary line, number 2, as it quickly breezes on by Southwest Florida. So first, let's take you to the tornado warning, and it is this nasty cluster right here in Glades County and Southern Highlands County. We'll switch over to the velocity signature to show you exactly what we're dealing with here. And the velocity signature is basically just analyzing the wind, and it is showing that it has unraveled quite a bit. Nash, do you have an update?
It's like about 4,000 out of power in Charlotte County.
4,000 out, and how about Lee County? Do we have that total, which we'll try to get to you guys ASAP? So 4,000 without power in Charlotte County.
Just over 2 in Lee County.
Over
2,000.
2,000 in Lee County. Okay, so 4,000 without power in Charlotte County, 2,000 without power in Lee County. More than likely, that number will continue to climb. There's a look at the map showing who has the greatest outages, and it looks like a quick visual here. Let's try to take down the bug on the bottom right for Sanibel and Captiva, but you'll notice in Cape Coral, Southeast Cape, about 2,000 people out, and I'm not surprised. The reason why we are seeing those type of outages is I had some winds officially gusting to 52 miles an hour in Cape Coral, and then 56 at Page Field. So for example, let's go back to the map here, and I got this report in at about 6:40, 52 miles an hour, Tarpon Point, South Cape, and then it got even windier at Page Field and Fort Myers, 56. You see that type of wind, and absolutely, you're going to get some power outages, and that is why we have the severe thunderstorm warning in effect for now, Lehigh Acres, Alva, RSW, Estero, all the way towards Bonita Springs. Yeah, just heads up. I mean, there's going to be the likelihood of some brief, not the whole morning, but brief, strong wind, 40, 50, even upwards of 60 miles an hour, frequent lightning, some heavy rain. I am taking a look inside of these storms to see if we have any rotation. Nothing right now, thankfully, that looks too suspect. It's just going to be some strong, damaging wind potential. And just for some peace of mind, let me show you that. If we were to have some rotation, you would see bright red next to bright green. We do not have that. So that should hopefully put some worries at ease. The main dynamic right now for Lee County is going to be that strong burst of wind as it works its way through Estero, Southwest Florida International, and Lehigh Acres. Okay, Nash, any more updates coming in from the chat?
I'm checking here. Looks like they've expired a section of that warning for Highlands County, and the tornado warning in Glades will now be allowed to expire. This just coming in. Okay, sounds good. And if we could, let's try to punch up Skycam outside to show you some of the conditions, which we have had periods of heavy rain. We've had periods of lightning. This situation, much better than what we had a little bit ago, but that doesn't mean you are not going to see bands of heavy rain, lightning, and some gusty wind across sections of Lee County, and then working its way into Collier County too. And that's what I want to talk about now, is now let's focus our attention to Collier County. Charlotte County got it, Lee County got it, and then now eventually the line at the minute kind of broken apart. This is good. You know, granted we need the rain, but we do not want any lightning or severe weather, or even tornadoes for that matter. So it'd be nice if we can see the rain without seeing the bad weather, but let's time this out for our viewers in Collier County and when you can expect it. I believe the northern part of this is where it's going to be the worst, and mainly thinking it's going to make a beeline towards Immokalee and potentially Ave Maria. But let's time this out. You'll see me drawing the storm cone here at home. Okay, so Vanderbilt Beach, time now is about 7:15, so within the next few minutes, you're likely seeing dark storm clouds in the Gulf. Naples, 7:30, Goodland, 7:50, Port of the Islands, 8:02, and then Everglades City, about 8:15 to 8:20 for that brief and fast-moving line of heavy rain, lightning, some gusty wind.
And if you have, here's the big thing, if you have any damage reports, feel free to let us know. If you have pictures, you can send it to my Facebook, my Twitter, Instagram, and we will try to put that on TV as soon as possible. Okay, now let's go big picture. I'll try to show you the rotation once again. It's certainly unraveling, not what it once was, right near the county border of Glades County as well as Southern Highlands County as it rides northeast. Okay? So Marissa, why don't we re-rack the show here, and we'll ride the severe thunderstorm warning for a little bit longer, but at the minute, worst weather is going to be, let's take a street level, primarily for Alva, down Joel 873, Lehigh Acres, heavy rain, lightning, some brief gusty wind, and the potential for power outages. You'll notice that in the forum, you have now avoided, and the worst weather is starting to now peel out. Now, again, you're not done with rain. You still have another secondary band that is racing in from Pine Island and all the way towards Captiva. The severe thunderstorm warning time now is 7:17. It will be in effect until 7:30. Nash, we have about 13 more minutes with the warning, and it looks like you have pretty gusty conditions, some heavy rain at Bonita Springs.
Bonita Bay Club, Bonita Springs Skycam, currently showing those gusty winds that you're talking about. That line is tracking through that area, and this is kind of a tale of two Skycams, Matt, because as we see in Bonita Springs, those winds are starting to pick up, but just farther to the south in Golden Gate, things are actually a little more mellow, with winds only barely reaching 20 miles per hour. The reason I show you these two cameras is to show you the difference about 15 to 20 minutes is going to make, and I want to really implore you not to get on I-75 south of Bonita Springs towards Naples and at least into the beginning stretch of Alligator Alley. If you do have to make a quick trip here soon, it is going to be tough driving in those spots, as you're not just going to be putting up with the damaging wind threat, but also the rain is going to be a bit stronger than even our typical summer thunderstorms as these rumble through. Fully expecting the at least chance for severe weather within these southernmost cells as they do continue to track east. Although the good news is here on Winx Live Doppler 3X, things too appear to be weakening at this point in time. But once they do push on shore, we have noticed a little bit of a strengthening trend, like we're seeing now over Bonita Springs and Estero, and also like we've seen with the storms up towards Paradise Park as they kind of ramped up in intensity and briefly produced a tornado and damaging winds as well. A quick check-in with the times of arrival. Naples 7:23, so just 5 minutes away for you. Golden Gate Estates in Golden Gate, you've got about 15 to 20 minutes or so until that time of arrival. Ave Maria and Marco Island 7:44 and 7:51 a.m. for you, and these are just going to continue to move from the northwest to the south and east. And as Matt, you pointed out a moment ago, once you get through this first batch of storms, there are likely going to be a few on the backside of this system, but your chances for severe weather at that point go drastically down in comparison to the initial line of storms.
Bingo, right on the money. And the logic behind that is the main line, it's sucking out the energy, and it's taking away that power that showers and storms need to grow, thrive, and become severe. I do want to give you an update here. I was asked just the question on Facebook, you know, Matt, when can I enjoy my Sunday? When is the severe weather out of here? I want to show you that with this graphic. We have a computer model, and it analyzes tornado potential. You'll notice right now we have that. And earlier we had a brief touchdown last hour. Let me show you when the tornado threat starts to go away. You'll notice the green colors, they shift out of southwest Florida and mainly to the east. And hey, look at that, by lunchtime we're done. Okay, so the tornado threat is only in the short term. This is not going to be an all-day tornado threat situation. Next few hours, the morning, and then even by lunchtime, I'm expecting a significant improvement because these two bands of storms, let me show you this right here, it's going to take out all the energy and essentially take away the potential for severe weather and even tornadoes. I just was told that the tornado warning in Highlands County has now expired. That is a good call. Now regardless, you're still going to see the heavy rain, the lightning, the gusty wind. Let's do a time lapse on it. And you can really see that this has been clobbering Buckhead Ridge, frequent lightning. The worst part of the storm is going to go right by you guys. Let's see if there's any hail. Hail is not impossible for this morning, and it looks like we have had a very pronounced hail core with this as it worked its way across Charlotte County. As we do some sampling, for reference, the darker purple, that's about the size of a pea to a marble. Where you see the areas of lighter purple, that's about the size of a nickel to a dime. And that, however, has weakened a touch as it's pushed northeast. We've also had a few other small hail cores into southern Lee County as the showers and storms blew by, which I have been talking to one of our brand new meteorologists. What a way to join Wink here, meteorologist Nikki Sheik. She was showing me some of the pictures of what's been happening, and we have had the typical. Some small to medium-sized tree limbs have broken off. We have had neighbors that have inherited trampolines from down the street. That can happen because they're not strapped down. The wind picks up the trampoline, and someone loses one, and another one gains them about 3 yards away. So the trampolines, they have been left and right as the strong winds have worked their way through, officially 50 to 60 miles an hour. Yes, Nash?
National Weather Service now acknowledging that the tornado threat still looks like it will be likely to continue for the next 3 hours locally in southwest Florida.
Yeah, and that's a good call. So it goes kind of back to what we showed you with this previous graphic, the areas of green, that's the tornado potential. And let's see, time now is about 7:22, and Nash said about 3 hours, and Nash is right. You'll notice by 10, we got a few pockets over the Everglades, but largely trying to wrap up as the worst ingredients, the energy down near the ground, the strong wind aloft, those tag teaming together. They're out of here as we hit the late morning as we can enjoy the rest of our weekend. Now, in the meantime, tornado watch remains in effect for all counties until 2 o'clock. It's a pretty broad time frame. Truthfully, I think for Southwest Florida, by 10, 11, and noon, again, our tornado threat is going to be lowering and wrapping up. But officially, all of Southwest Florida, and you'll notice about 50, 60% of the state. If you have friends and family in Orlando, Miami, Fort Lauderdale, West Palm, Northwest Palm had a tornado yesterday, flipped a car. It's on my Facebook page. And that's why you just want to be weather aware. You don't want to be driving around in a situation like this where if there's a tornado on the ground, that has the potential to launch debris, cars, you name it. So that's why tornado watch is in effect, and tornadoes will be possible. You can always submit pictures of the weather observations that you have. You send it here to my Twitter, my Facebook, my Instagram, or you can email me at matt.devitt@winknews.com. Take your pictures. I'll relay it to the National Weather Service, and we can also put it on TV. Okay, Emma and Annette, do you guys have any updates on the news side coming in from the strong to severe storms?
We do not. I did just check FPL, though, and I do see that right now in Charlotte County, they're saying about 4,093 customers are without power. And in Lee County, they're showing about 742 right now. So we are tracking just power outages for those people. But right now, we can get to some breaking news that we have this morning.